Hey, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, let me give you, just for a change, let me give you a warts and all walk around our little bit of paradise. Right, now this, I guess you would say that this video was a, perhaps, somewhere between a confession and a reality check. Because people do see this as some kind of paradise, and actually it's not. It's I think of it as a scruffy little hilltop farm, and it it serves as our base for doing all that we do, and that's it. And we're just like any other family, group of families, and we do what we can, and we try to defeat the best intentions and best efforts of 7 or more children who are determined that the place will turn into a trash dump. Okay, now just make sure that you understand this is not a vent. It's a reality check, and it will point out the good parts and the bad parts, because we have achieved such a tremendous amount. We're actually very proud of what we've done, and we would like to share that. But there are things here in this kind of life which would drive a lot of Western men crazy. Now, the kind of man that will be driven crazy by what you're seeing will be the kind of guy that just likes everything so-so. Now, for those of you who have seen some of the other videos that I've made talking about what it takes to go from being in the West to being here, you'll remember my example of the extremely rich retiree who lived in Florida, had a beautiful, beautiful house, and it had a huge deck around his beautiful pool. In fact, every single thing was beautiful except for one tile. One tile. And it drove the man crazy because it was a slightly different color to the rest. Now, for that man, life in the Philippines would be total insanity. Fortunately, I'm not that man. For one thing, I'm not a filthy rich retiree. I'm just me. So let's get everything turned around. I'm using the dead cat on this directional mic that our friend Kerry brought out for us as a gift when he came to visit with his friends Steve and Chris. So what are we looking at? Get onto it. Now here we've got our decaying steps, which you take your life in your hands when you come down them. We've hewn a space out of the earth, and we've made it a place for our big bus. Right. Now the bus is extended over 1 meter, so it's long, and it takes, because of the immobility of our big blue, which still awaits the removal of that one piece. And yes, it should have been done. It should have been done weeks and weeks, if not months ago, but it wasn't, because there are just too many things to do. So there's the blue. We are going to have to go down and actually put somebody into the truck or the bus and bring him up here and say, please get that damn part off so that we can get it replaced and get that big blue moved, so that when we actually turn round here, we've got some space to do it in. At the moment it's a little bit tight, and Beth has actually said that she would be prepared to take that beautiful tree down, and I said no, we can't do that. We just can't. So what have we achieved? Well, we've achieved all of this concrete here. Now, for those of you who are saying, oh great, what are you going to do? Cover the Philippines in concrete? Well, if we could get on with some work then, couldn't we? Well, what we've got is, we've got the little red. I've got the little red, and we've got Pogie under there who likes to sleep under the little red. Now, one of the worst things that for a Western, what can we say, organized mind will be the startling speed with which trash accumulates. Now, obviously this is not trash, it's where there's some erosion. We really need to have a retaining wall here. Right? Now, yes, we should have that, but we're not going to have it because we can't run to that at the moment. We should have those stairs put in, and we're not going to do that yet because we can't do that either. And our life is on the same par with anyone who has moved into a house and started the work and pay for it bit by bit out of the money that they earn week by week. And that's what we do as well. Now, we put this concrete down. At the same time we put the concrete down, we put the posts in. And then, when we could afford it, we put that big roof on. We knocked down Nana's old add-on porch. We filled in the gap, and I bought this little seating arrangement which takes the place of Nana's old porch. And you see plastic bottles everywhere, and those damn chickens as well. So these are tiles which are ready and will be put into our guest house. And this is Batjoy, who we have got the pleasure of his company because we love Batjoy, don't we? I love you, Batjoy, don't I?
I love you, Daddy.
I know, I love you very much. You're my favourite boy. So, our oil leaking little red and the earth that's supposed to soak it up. As you walk around, you see the trash is just too quick to accumulate for us to get it there. There's the goats. The little goat, the baby goat, finally started to grow. There's another couple of bottles. Now, this is what happens with bottles, is that they are used to play. And there you've got some kind of little tableau of creativity where the bottles have been used. Don't ask me what that's supposed to be. And there's the baby. The baby won't go far without the mom. But you can see that up the steps and everything is there. Now, please grant me the intelligence to know how to pick up litter. And we do it, and in no time at all, it's all back again. So we do it again, and guess what? It comes back again. Now, why Filipino kids will take the wrapper off a candy and just drop the wrapper on the ground is totally beyond me. But they do. Now, what we're used to in the West, for instance, what we're used to is we would make up an area like the one that you're looking at. And the one that you're looking at is as close to being orderly and left orderly as you'll ever get, certainly on our little patch of paradise. Because what happens is, and this is why it was necessary for me to actually take the money and go and get the second seated arrangement, because what would happen is that if there was a need, one of these couches would be taken down to where that other second couch set is right now. And why would they do that? Well, because it's a farming community which has subsisted at subsistence level for 50 years. And it's not going to change in 5 minutes just because some damn foreigner arrives on the scene and starts saying, why don't we just make this part nice and then leave it? It won't happen. For instance, look where they mixed up the cement for the tiling of the swimming pool. It's what they do. This is the way that it's done. And if you've been looking at the work in progress on the church, you'll see that they mixed up all of the cement for rendering the inside. Instead of walking through the door, they mixed it up on the floor in the church itself. It wouldn't be done in the West. But then I look at the West and I think of a lot of other things that wouldn't be done in the West that are done here. Like a lot of people being very happy. And that's what I see the most of. More, I always say, my little marketing cliche, more smiles per mile in the Philippines. And that really is true. Now, if ever I am aware that there is a group of people and there's some crisis, something has happened which shouldn't damn well happen, and it has happened, I'll look at that, and in retrospect, a little bit later, when I've cooled down, I will realize that the only one that was stressed about it was me. Because Filipinos don't get stressed like damn foreigners. It just is a fact. So one of the things you have to learn when you come out here is not to start walking around saying, look at all this bloody rubbish, look at it. Don't you people ever pick anything up? They do. But it's at a different rate to what you and I would actually do ourselves. And wow, I just saw the most incredible bird land down there. And I've got to go down and investigate because it actually looked like a Philippine eagle. Could it possibly be? Now this is the house in our little bit of paradise. This is the house that is, it belongs to Tata and Maricel, and they live, no, whatever it wasn't an eagle. Probably a damn chicken without its wings clipped. So, back to the issues that face you when you live here and you live in a society that has a totally different way of looking at things. And as I said, we won't dwell on rubbish because it's one fact of life. We'll have a little clean up and we'll clean everything up and it'll look lovely, and then the next day it will start on its downward spiral again to looking like it does now. And you want to stress about it? You can be the only one in the group who is stressing, and the rest will just go and they'll start picking up and they'll start putting things in order. Now that there is Nanay's house. Nanay's house in pretty much that shape was built some 40 years ago. Nanay arrived as a 17-year-old bride onto this hill without a single tree, and Nanay's husband, Beth's father, leveled this out by hand virtually on his own. he went and he did some prospecting for gold. No, not the Japanese promise of gold. This is one, there is a place where you can eke out little tiny bits of gold, and if you go there and you work diligently every weekend for God knows how long, you might possibly find enough gold to be able to buy a carabao. And that's what he did. And then he came up with his carabao and he did some more work leveling, and the little tiny house that he built for Beth's mom became this house. And you'll see the silver part is where it was extended. It was extended by the hard work of Beth at her job at the hospital. And they extended it and gave Nana a bigger place. Plus they put plywood along the outside instead of the amacon, which we always put on our houses, because it's very cheap and it is, well, that's it there. It's traditional and it looks beautiful. So what have we changed since we came here? Have we brought such incredible changes? Well, we have brought some pretty big changes. First of all, we built that house. I built that house single-handed. The only bits I didn't build, I didn't do that concrete work. I didn't put those barrels up there, and I didn't connect. But I had it done, and it was done to how I wanted it. Now, all of the water comes from a new well which we had built when we got here up to then, and during, I think, the first year I took my turn. Yeah, right. The goats are not great gardeners, are they? But they do like to strip the trees. So we initiated the digging of a new well. It was dug right down there at the bottom of that hill that you're looking at now, and the water is piped up, and it's piped up underground, and it goes through under the house and up to those two barrels, and from there it feeds by gravity Nanai's house, Mananglina's house, our house, Tita's house, Lena's house. It has worked incredibly well, all from those two barrels, and it feeds everybody, and it's very efficient. So this is what I think of as my mash. That's my bathroom. That's where I bathe. Nothing glamorous in that, is it? Welcome to paradise. And this comes up to my chest, so I have a little touch of modesty, as if anybody would be interested in looking at anything that is below my chest. I don't think so. So what do we have? We have, I think, either 3 or 4 goats, which will keep our trees well pruned down, I think. There's the baby. I think we have another one, a white baby, and a white mom. So they can be very affectionate, and then not. They can be quite indifferent. So the area that you've seen that is here, and all of this concreted area, we know what we have coming. It's a big construction site, lots of construction materials. There's our Piquico. Piquico is our cement mixer. Why is it called Piquico? Because an incredibly generous man in New Zealand, and there's Piquico Limited, and I don't know what that means. Wenwa o Piquico Limited. I don't know what it means, but Piquico is a flightless bird that you find in New Zealand. Now, all of this, when we started to drive, it was hard packed earth and grass when we arrived. But then as we got into the rainy season and we had the truck, doing the turnaround in the truck, all before that overhead roof was put in, all before that, the whole thing became a whole mess of mud. So it became necessary to concrete that in for a turnaround area for guests to be able to arrive and to not end up ankle deep in mud. It took the blue, it took the red, and it has taken the blue bus as well. And the turnaround actually is quite modest, and it comes down here and probably will be improved as time goes on. Over there, that is the house of Jessica and James. James apparently has just arrived back from the US. A lot of people said, why is the house abandoned? Well, it's not abandoned, it's just not being worked on. Not the same as being abandoned, although ideally it shouldn't be left to the elements. Rain, wind, sun will soon make that block work deteriorate, and it will not have the strength that it should have. I'm hoping that when James comes, he will resume work on the house and we'll start to see some interesting developments there. So this is our concrete path. Now this is the kind of thing that in the West you would take for granted and you wouldn't think anything of it. Well, of course, yes, well, you need a drive, don't you? And you would have one. And here it's not quite so easy. Now here's the way that it would be as it is right now. Things would be left. Now this was the spot where they did the coconut harvest, and all of the coconut was laid out here, and then it was picked up and it was bagged up, as you may have seen. Now what's happened is that the site of that has been left and it's just been abandoned. See, so at some point probably I will have to say to Beth, can we pay Rado to go down, take all of that corrugated tin and put it under the house where we can use it at some later point. Now there's a shot back at the house. Believe it or not, this this cable that you're looking at now feeds all of the houses. And there's the pole. Now this pretty well tells you how far we are from the kind of reality that you guys in the West are. Now, they put this round the neck of the carabao, and that is how we brought up all of the materials for our house. It was all brought up by carabao, by my brother-in-law Manorado. Now, what have we done? One of the things that we've done is we put that road in. Now, from here, you can't, well, you can actually just about see. I'm not keen on walking in the long grass because of snakes, but right down there you can see the bridge. The bridge, if you look there, there's a patch of grey, and that grey is the new concrete, which allows us to negotiate what had formerly been bordering on an impossible mud hill climb, and we made sure that that's not going to immobilize us and isolate us on the house. And the little house that's there right next to the rice fields, that belongs to Julio and his family, and Julio is the husband of Nanai's niece. So Julio is related to us, and he is also part of the Superman team. Now, having done all of the stuff that would drive you crazy, or most of it, there's lots more, then you have to look at what you see every day. When I drive away from the house to do whatever we have to do in Taliban, this is what I see. And this is beauty that if you're into this, well, if you're into it, this will take your breath away. It's just incredible. And it just is as far as the eye can see. If you look out over there, I don't know whether you can hear the sound of my footsteps, but I can. And over there you can see some orderly planting, and that will be probably for palm. So a palm tree plantation over there, and you can see the orderly planting of that. And then there's the other stuff, the wild stuff. Coconut is planted all the time. It's illegal to cut down a coconut. It's illegal. But there's a lot of things that are illegal and life goes on. In the end, laws get down to what is enforceable. Well, I'm sure that you're not allowed to do many of the things that we do every day, but it's a matter, as I said, of what is enforceable. So now this is our last strain on the truck to get up this hill, and it is a strain. And lots of people say, oh well, you can get some kind of a GPS thing from Google, and it will tell you exactly what the incline is. I'll tell you what will tell me what the incline is. What tells me the incline is extremely steep is the strain on the engine of any vehicle that comes up here and tries to do it even in second gear. Forget it. It's first gear or don't get up. That tells you how steep it is. So that's been a little walk around. It talks about some of the things that you would think about if you lived here and you were a Western man, fully regulated, fully conditioned to an orderly way of thinking, fully conditioned to never drop litter. Oh gosh. Now, here's a little boy. This is a little Filipino boy. Look how he's playing. He's playing in the dirt. Can anybody out there remember playing like that? He's got two containers of what were used to play to pack food. You get those at Alturas if you have a takeaway meal. And he's utilised them now for heaven knows what, I don't know. But he's playing by himself and he's not exercising his thumbs, he's doing something else. And right next to him there's a dog. It's a life that used to be many years ago for many people, that they remember it. And this is living on a farm. It doesn't suit everybody. It doesn't suit every guest that comes. Some may come thinking that they would love to spend a week, and after 3 days they've had enough. They've enjoyed it. They've had a life-changing experience, but now they want to get back to air conditioning, hot water for a shower, and, well, an upgrading in the way that they're living moment to moment. For us, we're camping out. For most people would consider that we were camping out, and we are. I still shower out there in that little enclosure, that little modesty shield. I still do that. I still have to pick up trash that should never have been dropped. I still have cold water showers at whatever time I get up. And I put up with those damn chickens. Okay. So, thanks for looking in. You will either be completely discouraged, or you'll say, that's okay. That's a price worth paying. And that's the way that I think about it. It's a price, but it's a price that I feel is worth paying. When we look down there, we built that house. And when we look behind it, that's our road. And then we look there at that patch, about 100 feet of concrete road, we put that in. And that leads down to a bridge that we designed and built ourselves. And all for me at an age when most men are thinking, should I have my rocking chair reconditioned or not?